Hi, it's Cara from Enchanted Vines, and today I wanted to share with you how I'm going to be making my tree topper for my pencil tree. So what we're going to be using is an easy Bowmaker. We're going to have scissors, wire cutters, a couple chenille stems, a zip tie, and then most importantly our designer ribbon. Okay, so I am obsessed with this ribbon and I have been waiting a very long time. This was sold out and it just came back, or at least I just rediscovered it. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make a set of tails. So I'm gonna make this about like 3 feet. Okay, my pencil tree is around like 8 feet tall, I think. So I wanna have lots of tails. So what I'm gonna do is I'm taking my ribbon and I'm putting it right through the dowels. Okay, and I'm making sure that the pretty side is facing up. And now, once it's through the dowels, I'm gonna give this a nice crisp twist. So again, we have the pretty side of our ribbon facing up. And now I'm just gonna make sure that these guys are even. And we're gonna cut. Now, if this was a tree topper for a full-size tree, I would be making the loops much bigger, but because it's a little pencil tree, I'm gonna keep these on the smaller side, but still nice and full. All right, so we're gonna start again by making another tail. I'm gonna make this the same length, okay? So I'm gonna slide this through the dowels, and I'm going to give it a nice crisp twist. So now when we're working on the bottom half of our loop, the pretty side of the ribbon is facing down. And then when we're working on completing the loop, that's when we see the pretty side of the ribbon again. Okay, so I am going to measure out 5 inches. So I'm gonna look right on my Easy Bowmaker, find the 5-inch mark, and then take our ribbon and put it right back through the dowel. I always like to kind of give it a little push right here just to make sure that it's accurate, because if you leave it like all fluffed up, it might not really be a true 5 inches. All right, so we have our first loop. Once it's through the dowels, okay, you're going to again give it a nice crisp twist. So now again, what's facing upward is that back side of our ribbon, okay, because this is basically the back side of our loop. So we are going to measure 5 inches on this side and then feed that ribbon right back through the dowel. So I had the hardest time figuring out how to use this Easy Bowmaker for years, and what was kind of like throwing me off was if you don't make these like really tight twists when you're going through the dowel, what happens is you end up, it's like very like sloppy, and the bows don't have, you know, like a real nice like seal to them. So it is really important that you make sure that your material is fully folded over when you start your new loop. Okay, so I'm gonna continue and make a couple more 5-inch loops. And once you've measured it once, you really just need to then just overlap it. Okay, so I don't really need to keep going back to the ruler for this. I'm just gonna go off of my first loop size. And we're gonna make 6 of these loops all together. I am so excited. I've been waiting, I've been ordering things, and they've been arriving in piecemeal for this pencil tree. And today the last piece I was waiting for came, which is a magenta tree collar. Very, very splashy. This is gonna be a very splashy tree. I'm super excited. All right, so now we've done 6 of our 5-inch loops. Okay, and now we're gonna start to do some 4-inch loops. So you can adjust your size, and you don't need to cut this unless you want to. If you cut it, you're gonna have an extra set of tails. So I'm just gonna start again I'm gonna twist this. I'm gonna find my 4-inch mark on my ruler. And feed it through. Give it a twist. Find the 4-inch mark on this side. Give it a twist. And then we're gonna make 6 more of these loops. I feel like bow making is one of those things that it can be so frustrating and like flustering, and then as soon as like you get it, it just like clicks, and then you can make your bows without like stressing you. It's actually very enjoyable to do. And especially this time of year for the holidays, like you can put bows on anything and everything, and they look festive like immediately. And even though this is being used as a tree topper, this could also go on a mailbox. It could go on a wreath, you know, really anywhere that you want to add like that big pop of color. And this ribbon is such great quality. Let me see if it says who made it. This is from Ribbon Bazaar. I got it off of Amazon, but it is from Ribbon Bazaar. And they also have the same print in 4-inch, so I got some of that. And I'm going to kind of weave that into my tree as well. Okay, so now we have a total of 12 loops. We have 6 of the 5-inch, 6 of the 4-inch. And so now I'm gonna measure out and cut this. So we have another tail. My tree is in a corner, so it doesn't need to be, you know, you don't have to have like the best side at every angle. Because sometimes you might need 2 tree topper bows and just back them up to one another. But for this, I do want to have a lot of tails. So I'm going to make this one shorter. Let's say this is about 2 feet. I'm going to feed it through the dowel. And I call this the button, which is just kind of like that big part in the middle. And so what I'm going to do is, it's probably about 3 inches. I never measure it. I just kind of eyeball it. All right, and then we're going to cut. Okay, so before we take this off the dowel, I'm just going to spread the loops out. I feel like once we zip tie them, when you zip tie them super, super tight, you're just not going to have as much flexibility in arranging the direction that they're going in. Right now, I just think everything's a lot more malleable. Spread this out. And I'm gonna use zip ties for this. Whenever I'm doing really big bows, I like to use zip ties versus floral wire. I just think of the amount of like pressure that, you know, is gonna be put on whatever's holding this together. So I feel like zip ties are the most secure. If it's a smaller bow, I prefer to use floral wire, but that's just, you know, personal taste. Okay, so I'm gonna take my zip tie. This is, I believe it's about 10 inches. And we are going to carefully slide this off the dowel. Okay, so I'm gonna be holding this with my thumb and my pointer finger. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put this zip tie right over where I can see the indentations from the dowels, because that tells me that's exactly the halfway point. Once you have it in, you're gonna zip tie this as tight as you can. Okay, so here we go so far. And before we fluff this, what I like to do is I like to use chenille stems. So whether or not this is for me or this is for a client, this is just an easy way to attach it, whether it's going on a tree, wreath, etc. Okay, so I want to find a chenille stem that's going to blend. I went with green here. It's really not going to show much, but might as well blend it in. I'm going to twist this off in the back. Okay, and now I'm going to just snip the tail off of my zip tie. All right, now we're gonna finish off our tails. So we're gonna dovetail them. So when you're dovetailing, you're folding your ribbon in half, okay? And then you're gonna cut up at an angle going into the center of the bow. What happens is you end up with this nice little polished look. So we're gonna go and we're gonna repeat that on all of our tails. So again, we're folding this in half, okay? For me, the open edges are facing this way. And then I'm going to cut up at an angle. And voila, keep going. This is also a cute way to polish off, you know, if you're doing bows on your Christmas gifts. You could also just do diagonal if you like that as well. Like anything that just gives it that nice finished look. I can't wait to show you guys this tree when it's finished. I can't wait to see it when it's finished because I have a vision. This is going to be a very loud tree. Okay, so now our tails are done, and I'm saying next and last at the same time. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go and we're gonna fluff up all of our loops. I like to start in the back, and so what you do is you just put your hands in the loop and just spread them out. And this is why it's great to use wired ribbon, because things always end up, they get smushed, you know, or say you're using them year after year. You wanna be able to have them go back to their natural form, so that they look brand new. And this is when the quality of ribbon makes a difference, because sometimes fabric can be a little bit thin and it's not very structured. This, I mean, you can kind of even just tell from the tails, like this is very structured. And I always find, like, once you find a place that you really are happy with their ribbon, like I just consistently order from them. So like I love Ribbon Bazaar. I also on Amazon have been using Ribley for my velvet bows, and they are just consistently like excellent. Again, like very structured, nice thick wire. So here she is. Again, I didn't make the head of this bow too big because it's going on a pencil tree. I wanted to have some balance to it. But we have 13 loops. We have 6 tails. And I think she's beautiful. I can't wait to see her on the tree. So if you guys try this little ribbon recipe or bow recipe, let me know. I'd love to know what you think.